Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's Pilates class is all about building staying power, working on our stamina and endurance. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Set yourself up more or less in the middle of the mat with enough room to extend the legs back into a plank-like line when you need to. Find your 4-point kneeling frame with your hands stacking underneath your shoulders and your knees stacking underneath your hip points. We're going to begin with a little bit of mobilization through the back. On an inhale, come into a cow position, giving me a concave shape through your back, taking your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling, but keeping your belly button softly pulled into center. On the exhale, change out the shape, rounding out your back and hollowing out your belly, and then begin dynamically oscillating between the two frames. Today, work at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio and just use the cat-cow to begin gently mobilizing through the back and starting to connect to your core. Exhale as you round up, giving me a nice contraction in the core, stretching into the lower back and the shoulders. On the inhale, change the shape, stretch into the lower belly. Start moving at a gentle rhythm that works for you. Then ease your way into a neutral line, somewhere between your cat and your cow, and give me the longest table hold that you can. Trying to forge a long line without dropping your head. Beautiful long line through your neck, your spine, making your way all the way to the hip bones. And then keeping that long line through the spine, we're going to focus on the lower belly. Relax it and then gently pull it up. So you're going to feel your belly button becoming heavy to the mat and then gently pulling it up. It's a tiny movement. You might not see much on the mat. Just make it heavy and then gently suck it up, engaging your lower abdominals. Try to keep that long line through the neck and the spine. Keep your gaze softly down on the mat between the two hands. Then keeping that long line and your belly pulled into center, tuck your toes under, push off your hands and hover your knees off the floor. Hold, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Remember this bear hold, we're going to use it. Drop down onto your knees. Come back to your relaxed 4-point kneeling frame. Without dipping through the shoulders, softly begin dragging the right arm on the mat in front of you, and when you've extended as far as you can, begin to float the arm up and bring it up alongside your ear. Try not to pop and rotate through the shoulders, so keep your shoulders even the whole time. Reach long through those fingertips. Keep that long line through your spine and keep your belly button pulled in. Tap your fingertips back to the mat and then slowly draw back to your start position. Tuck your toes under, come back to your bear hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly drop back down to the knees, relax your feet. Start sliding your left arm out in front of you. Keep it nice and even through the shoulders. When you've extended as far as you can, slowly float the arm up without popping and rotating through the shoulder girdle. Keep your gaze down on the mat without dropping your head. Bring your left fingertips back to the mat and then start sliding the arm back into position. Back into your bear hold. If you're starting to feel the wrists, you can give me a fisted line as you hover those knees off the mat. Hold strong through the belly. 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently bring yourself back down to the mat. Find your soft 4-point kneeling frame. Without popping and rotating through the hips or the pelvic girdle, begin to slide the right leg out behind you. Keep as even as you can through the hips. When that leg is in full extension, float it up without hyperextending through the back and hold, reaching long through your fingertips. Make sure the weight distribution is equal on your arms. So if you need to, open up the arms a little bit wider. Bring that right toe back to the mat and slide it back into position. Tuck your toes under, come back into your bear hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly drop back down to the mat. Relax your feet. Keep your hips as steady as you can. Open up the arms a little bit wider if you need to so that your weight distribution is equal. Slide the left leg out behind you. When the leg's fully extended, whisper softly, bring it up to table and hold. Keeping that long line through the neck and the spine and keeping your belly button gently pulled into center. Tap your left big toe to the mat and slowly start drawing yourself back to your start position. Find your last bear hold. If you're feeling the wrists, you can give me a fisted line. Hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly drop back down to the mat. Relax your feet. Come back into 4-point kneeling. This time we're going to work opposite arm and leg. Let's do left arm, right leg. Slide the two limbs away from the center line. When the arm and the leg is fully extended, whisper softly, come into table without popping and rotating through the shoulders and the hips. Hold. Tap the wall in front of you. Tap the wall behind you. Keep your gaze softly down on the mat, just to the side of your stabilizing thumb. Re-tap the big toe and the fingertips to the mat. And then softly start drawing the limbs back into table. Find your fisted line, tuck your toes under. Find your bear hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly drop back down to the mat. Relax onto your palms and release the bridges of your feet. Opposite arm and leg. Let's do left leg, right arm. Keeping that long line through the spine, start to drag the arm and the leg out into extension. When they're fully extended, whisper softly, float up into a tabletop position and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly reconnect to the mat. Slide the limbs back into table. Fist your hands, tuck your toes under, and give me your last bear hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Softly reconnect your knees to the floor, but keep your toes tucked under. Walk your hands back and come into a high kneeling frame with your hands resting on the top of your thighs. On an exhale, dip off the center line and then come back to your start position. You're going to give me 10 repetitions, shooting for the longest line that you can from your kneecap to your breastbone. So feel the stretch into the tops of your thighs, into the hip flexors, into the lower belly area. Maybe exhaling as you dip off the center line, and then maybe gently inhaling as you come back to center. Last one. Relax your feet, or you can keep the toes tucked under if you prefer. You're going to give me a little, make sure your knees are stacking in parallel underneath your hips. You're going to give me a little lunge step forward with your right leg. Lean the weight softly forward and open up your arms into T without collapsing your chest towards your lead thigh. So you're pushing off your stabilizing foot. You've got knee over ankle. You're lengthening through your spine and you're lengthening through your fingertips. Hold. 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently drop the arms at your side and come back into your kneeling frame. Lunge step forward on the left. Start leaning the weight softly forward, but make sure you're not collapsing your belly to the tops of your thighs. So even though you're feeling that beautiful stretch into the back hip flexor, you're still lengthening your whole crown gently towards the sky. Hold, keep reaching along through your fingertips. Then drop the arms gently at your side and step back into your kneeling frame. We're going to change our orientation on the mat. You're going to flip over onto the side, keeping your knees bent, knees and feet stacked together. We're going to come into a modified side plank on the elbow. Make sure that the elbow is not too far away or too close to your body line. So you want that shoulder stacking underneath your armpit, and you don't want to collapse your ribs into the mat. You want to bring your ribs up off the floor as if you had a soccer ball underneath your rib cage, and you're keeping that rib cage nice and tall. You're going to push off your stabilizing elbow and your knees and your feet to lift your bum up off the mat, and you're going to hold for 10. Either hand on your thigh, or you can take that arm up to the ceiling and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. From here, you're going to come into a plank, either on the elbows and hold for 10, or if you want more work, you're going to give me an extended arm line, and you're going to hold steady with your body line as parallel as you can to the mat for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Slowly start tapping your knees, alternating one tap per side, either in your full plank or from your elbow plank position. Begin to gently tap to the mat. Come back to your plank line, relax to the knees, and peel up into your kneeling frame, tucking the toes under, placing the hands on the top of your thighs. As we come into that camel lean, you're going to hold off the center line for 10, 8, feel the tops of your thighs working, feel your lower belly working, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax back into a high kneeling frame, release your feet and take a small lunge step forward with your right leg. Float the arms into T. Keep reaching long through your right fingertips, and then gently arc and frame the left arm overhead. Pause. Inhale to come back to center. Keep those arms, your stabilizing arm, more or less in line with your shoulder, and then arc and frame on the right and see what that feels like. Come gently back to center. Find your way onto side 2. So drop down into the elbow. My back is going to be towards you on this one. Find your bent leg position, knees and feet stacked. Don't collapse your ribs into the mat, so ribs coming up nice and high. Push off your stabilizing elbow, your knees and your feet to bring your hips off the floor, either resting your top hand on your top hip, or maybe you'd like to float it towards the sky and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Find your way from here into a plank line, either on the elbows and holding steady, or maybe you prefer to come into a full plank line and hold. 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently begin tapping one knee at a time to the floor, whether you're in the elbow position or whether you have your arms fully extended. Try not to collapse through your lower back and your belly. Find your way back into your plank line, and then ease your way back into a high kneeling frame. Tucking your toes under, hands resting on the top of your thighs. We're going to come into a camel hold. So as you come off the center line, reach long through your fingertips, stretch through the back of your feet, stretch through the top of your thighs and the lower belly. Let's hold for a further 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently float back down, relax the feet. You're going to give me a little lunge step forward on the left. Make sure you've got knee over ankle. Float your arms into a T frame. Make sure that the stabilizing arms are more or less in line with your shoulders. Keep the left arm where it is and gently arc and frame on the right and hold. Keep reaching long through both sets of fingertips. Look towards the wall that you're reaching towards. Inhale to come back to center. Let's take it to the other side. Keep your right arm where it is and gently arc and frame on the left. Peeking over the right shoulder so that you're looking towards the wall, that both sets of hands are reaching long and lengthened for. Float your way softly back to center. Drop the arms at your side and find your way back onto your side. This time, come all the way down on the bottom arm and tuck both hands behind your head so that you're in a loose surrender position. Interlace the hands, soften them so that you can insert the crook of your head into your hands. We're going to work a modified oblique crunch. Just relax yourself softly into the mat, and then on an exhale, try to peel up as high as you can off the bottom shoulder and think of taking your top elbow closer towards your top hip. You're going to shoot for between 5 and 10 gentle repetitions. Exhaling as you peel up, and then inhale as you softly come down. From here, you're going to peel back up. Find your way to 4-point kneeling. Let's find that plank line either on the elbows or in full plank. Hold for 5. And then flip over onto your side, giving me a side plank, knife edging your feet, whether you are on the elbows or whether you are fully extended. Hold, try to pike that hip up nice and high. Ease your way softly back into your plank and take it gently over onto the other side, holding for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Find your way back to your plank line, relax to your knees and flip over onto side 2. So my back is going to be towards you. Tuck both hands behind your head. Find your stacked leg position and give me that little oblique crunch. Remember this oblique crunch because we're going to be building on it shortly. Giving me between 5 and 10 little crunches into the side. So you're going to feel a nice little bit of work into the side of your body. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Find your way back onto your elbows as you find your elbow plank or your full plank. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Flip to the left, finding your side plank and hold. Try not to drop your hips, so try to pike those hips up nice and high to the ceiling. Find your way back to the center line and hold for 5, 3, flip over onto side 2 and hold. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently come back towards the midline. Find your way into your high kneeling frame, keeping the toes tucked under. This time, arms along the side of your body. Big breath in as you come into the camel lean. Hold with the arms in T for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently peel back towards the center line, relaxing the arms at your side. Let's take a little step forward with the left leg first. Set up your T-frame along the side. See if you can tuck your back toe under this time and bring the knee up off the floor. Alternatively, keep the knee on the floor if you need to. Take a little off-center stretch to the left, arcing and framing with your right arm and holding. Keep reaching along through those fingertips. Bleed your way gently back to center. Relax the back, knee, shin, and foot. Come back to your high kneeling frame. And then take a little lunge step forward on the right leg. Tuck your back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor, and float your arms into T. Reach long and lengthened, off center to the right. Hold. Keep reaching along through both sets of fingertips. Bleed your way back into T. Relax the back, knee, shin, and foot. And then as you come back to the mat, find your way back onto the side of the body. Bend your knees, stack your knees and your feet. And tuck those hands behind your head. Remember that little surrender crunch that we played with? All right, we're going to work a slow one this time. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to scoop. You're going to peel up and you're going to hold without yanking on the back of your head. And then inhale to softly float down. 4 more. Bring it down. Last one. Float softly back down and find your way onto your back. Reposition yourself in the middle of the mat and tuck both hands behind your head in that surrender-like fashion. Find a bridge-like setup with your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart. Comfortable neutral spine. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders. Hold as you find that crunch line. So your lower and your mid back is nice and heavy. Elbows are nice and wide. And the weight of your head is resting in your hands. Inhale to float back down. Let's do 4 more. Slow and controlled. Float back down. Float back down. Last one. Float softly back down to the mat and flip onto side 2. So my back is going to be towards you. Both hands are still tucked behind the head. You're going to give me a slow oblique crunch. Pausing. And then softly floating back down. Just a set of 5. Keep belly to spine as you're playing. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Find your way from here onto your back. Reposition yourself in the middle of the mat. Both hands are still tucked behind your head with your elbows nice and wide. 5 slow crunches. Inhale as you float back down. Two more sets. Keep those elbows nice and wide. Don't yank on your head. Make your lower and your mid back nice and heavy into the mat as you scoop and peel up. Then as you come down from the last one, drop the arms at your side, palms down, or you can tuck the hands, palms down underneath your bum. Float your legs into a tabletop position. Don't pull the knees into a close. Stop with your knees stacking over your hips. Give me a soft brace into your feet. Give me a halfway heel drop and slowly come back. We're going to keep playing on the right. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep your core braced. We're going to change sides. Make sure you draw the knees slowly back to your start position each time. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Scoop to peel up off your shoulders. Hover your arms alongside the body and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax the arms at your side. Release the feet to the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath or 2. We're going to set ourselves up for a tailbone lift. Arms at your side, or you can keep them tucked underneath your bum. Float your legs softly to your 90 position. That's your control mark. You're going to begin your movement just behind your control mark. And today, you can either keep the legs in parallel, or if you want to mix it up, you can maybe cross one leg over the other. You're going to pull your feet through the 90 line and just give me a small lift of your tailbone off the mat and come back to your start position. Just a tiny lift of your tailbone, almost as if somebody was pulling you through the 90 line and wanted to gently pike your toes up to the sky. Then make your way softly back down to the mat. Bleed over onto side one. Remember that side work that we did, except this time, instead of tucking the hands behind your head as you come into the oblique work, you're going to extend the bottom arm down so that it's reaching past the edge, the front edge of your mat, or rather the back edge of your mat. You're going to relax the top arm at your side and just relax your head to your bottom arm. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, you're going to scoop to peel up off the shoulders. You're going to reach long through your top arm, almost pushing off your stabilizing forearm, and hold. Inhale to come down. Let's do 4 more. Inhale to come back down. Trying to almost come off that bottom shoulder and push off the forearm as you reach long. All right, roll over onto your back, reposition yourself in the middle of the mat. Stack one arm on top of the other. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders. Keep that height as you alternate flowing over the left knee and then the right knee, working side to side. Trying to keep off the shoulders. Keep belly to spine as you float side to side, syncing your movement to your breath. Peel back down. Remember which arm you had on top. Next time you're going to put the opposite arm on top. Roll over onto your side. Bend your knees. Extend your bottom arm. Bottom arm is reaching past the back corner of your mat. Top arm is resting on the top hip. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to push off your stabilizing forearm. You're going to float and reach as if you wanted to tap the wall at the top end of the mat. And then inhale to float back down. Pause and hold. Inhale to float down. 3 more to go. Gently peel back down. Find your way onto the back. This time, opposite arm on top. Set up your line. Big breath in. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders. Keep the height, so keep that scoop, and then begin floating side to side, left to right, right to left, forging the flattest belly that you can while you're doing so. Last 2. Find your way softly back down to the mat. Float your legs into table. This time you're going to give me a drop all the way down to the floor and back with your heel. Hinging from the hip, so you're not hinging from the knee and trying to drop here by your bum. You're hinging from the knee so that you can feel those lower abs working. If dropping all the way to the mat is not an option for you, you're going to just repeat the halfway drop that we did in the previous round. Once you've done 10 repetitions on one side, you're going to change sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop both feet to the mat, take a recovery breath. You're going to set yourself up for your tailbone lift, either legs in parallel or crossing the opposite leg in front this time, beginning your movement behind the 90 line, pulling through, giving me a small little almost float of your toes up towards the ceiling as you try to lift your tailbone off the mat and then slowly peel it back towards the mat. Let's do 2 more. As you complete the last one, anchor your feet. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Slowly float back down to the mat and roll over onto your side. The first time we come onto the side, we're going to try to find a relatively parallel line on the mat. So maybe your toes are just in front of your hip line if you need stability. And maybe your arm is just in front of your shoulder line. You're going to try to stack your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Top hand either resting on your thigh or gently braced into the mat without rolling your weight forward or without hanging off towards the back of the mat. You're going to lift, hold, and hover your legs off the floor, maybe floating the top arm up towards the sky, maybe resting it on the top of your thigh, maybe gently placing it on your belly to remind yourself to activate or pull in your core. You're going to hold wherever you decide to be for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. You're going to roll over onto your belly, reposition yourself in the middle of the mat if you need to. Extend the arms and the legs into parallel. We're going to come into a small Superman hold. Starting with your arms, your head, and your legs connected to the mat, you're going to take a big breath in to prepare. And then on the exhale, you're going to execute a mini chest and leg lift and hover your nose, your arms, and your legs just off the mat, almost resting on your belly button, maybe bottom rib touching the mat, hip bones touching into the mat. And then start to give me a slow swim, opposite arm and leg, kicking into the mat. And just bringing the arm and the leg up so that you're in line with your hip and in line with your shoulder. Bottom 4 ribs nice and heavy into the mat. Find your Superman hold. Relax your whole body to the mat. Bend your elbows, place your palms alongside your body with your fingertips maybe just in front of your shoulder line. We're coming into a baby cobra. Start with your forehead gently connected to the mat and pretend you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Keep your legs where they are on the mat. Roll that marble away from you. Start peeling up. Find a baby cobra line with your bottom ribs still connected to the mat, and maybe make your elbows and your forearms heavy to the mat. And hold. 10, 8. Try to use your back muscles, so try to extend from your lower back towards the nape of your neck. If you need to, you can ground your elbows into the floor and you can push softly off your elbow points. Gently peel back down to the mat, reconnect that marble, and roll over onto side 2, so my back is going to be towards you. Try to get yourself into a relatively parallel line as you can manage. Fingertips either on the floor or resting on your thigh or floating up to the ceiling as you hold and hover your legs off the mat. Hold. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Gently roll over onto your belly. You're going to set up your Superman line. So remember, tiny little lift off the floor. Give me a simultaneous chest and leg lift. Bottom 4 ribs nice and heavy. Whole body just hovering an inch or 2 off the mat. Palms are looking down into the mat. And then give me opposite arm and leg pushing into the mat as you give me a slow swim. Pushing off your stabilizing palm and your stabilizing bridge of your back foot. Trying to keep that long line through the body. Then slowly float back down to the mat. Set up your baby cobra line. Start to peel up, roll that marble away from you. Maybe you're anchoring down through the elbows. Maybe your elbows are hovering off the floor. You're going to find the baby cobra line, keeping your elbows tucked into center, using your back extenders to hold. 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently peel back down to the mat, roll over onto your side, and this time you're going to give me more of a banana frame on the mat. So you're going to aim your toes for one corner of the mat, your arms for the other corner, and you're going to bump your hips towards the back of the mat. So you've got a nice hollow frame to your body. You're going to push off your stabilizing arm. You're going to bring your bottom shoulder off the mat, your head off the shoulder, your feet off the mat, and you're going to reach for the sky with your top hand, or you can reach for your toes. Pick your poison. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Roll onto your belly. Reposition yourself into the middle of the mat if you need to. We're going to find a locust hold this time. So this time you're going to give me more of a bow frame through the back. Start with the arms and the legs relaxed into the mat. Then execute a simultaneous chest and leg lift to float up a little bit higher off the mat. Gaze between the two hands. If the bow frame is too much for you, you can bring your whole body line closer to the mat and repeat the Superman line that we played with in the previous round. So find your hold and then give me a slow alternating locust swim or Superman swim, dropping opposite arm and leg to the mat, almost repeating from a prone position the work that we were doing in 4-point kneeling, opposite arm and leg. All right, slowly bring yourself back down to the mat. We're coming into a full cobra this time. Bring the arms alongside your body as you bend through the elbows. Fingertips maybe just in front of your shoulder line. Start to roll that marble away, either stopping in your baby cobra with your bottom ribs still connected, or start to extend through the arms, coming into full extension if you can, but not collapsing through the shoulders. So nice and strong, pushing the shoulders away and keeping that core strong, using your back extenders to find that long line through the spine. Peel your way gently back down to the mat. As you reconnect, you're going to roll over onto side 2, and you're going to find that banana-like frame. So your bum is bumped towards the back edge of your mat. Your toes are reaching for one edge of your mat, and your hands reaching for the other end. You're going to float off your stabilizing arm and legs, and you're going to hold that bow frame. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, roll onto your belly. You're going to set up your extended locust line. Roll that marble away. Give me a simultaneous chest and leg lift to give me more of a bow frame through the body. Hold. And then maybe begin to swim slowly, pushing opposite arm and leg. There we go. Float softly back down to the mat. Take a recovery breath or 2. Coming into your full cobra. Find your arm position, maybe fingertips just in front of your shoulder line. Make sure you're not chicken winging your arms up. You're going to peel up into your cobra and hold, whether you're playing small or whether you're deciding to extend a little bit more through the arms. Hold maybe for a slow count of 10, and then we're going to make our way from here onto the back, and we'll come into a little supine stretch sequence. Bleed your way gently back down onto the belly, flip over onto your back, so reposition yourself in the middle of the mat if you need to. You might need a strap or a hand towel for the next series. If your body is really tight, you're going to extend the right leg up to the sky, maybe looping a strap or a hand towel around your foot as you find a hold position, either keeping your support leg bent, or you can extend, maybe T-framing your support arm, just trying to make the whole back of your rib cage nice and heavy into the mat as you take a little stretch. Think right toes to nose, heel to ceiling. Give yourself a few more gentle breaths here. And then we'll open up from here into the beeline. So when you're ready, take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, slowly open up to the side of the room and maybe give yourself at least 20 to 30 seconds here Trying to keep yourself grounded on the left side of the body, so left shoulder and bum stay connected to the mat. Your leg is dropped open to one side and your head flops to the opposite side. Gently bleed your leg back to center and change hands. So hold opposite hand to leg. Maybe you want to bend your support leg, lift your hips off the mat and bump them slightly to the right. Come back into position, and as you draw the leg over the midline, you will see that that little bump you took to the right enables you to have more range of motion so that you can more comfortably stack your right hip over the left as you come into the seat twist. If you find that working with an extended leg line is too much for you, you can maybe just bend that right leg and softly draw the knee across the midline of the body, taking the stretch as far as you're comfortable. Holding maybe for a soft count of 20 or 30. Trying to keep your right shoulder nice and heavy into the mat. Then slowly bleed your way back to center. As you come back to center, ground both feet, bring your hips back into neutral. Extend the arms and the legs, taking a little stretch. Nice hollow back. Exhale to scoop and tuck off the shoulders, hugging your knees in towards the chest. Do that a few times. Take a nice strong stretch, bracing it, maybe kicking into the legs, or maybe you'd like to keep your toes soft. And then exhale to tuck. Inhale to stretch. Exhale to tuck. Find your way into your little bridge-like setup. Using strap or no strap, you're going to find a toe hold or maybe a foot hold or maybe a strap hold on the left. Keep your support leg bent, or maybe you'd like to extend your support leg. Just give yourself at least 20 to 30 seconds here. Make your rib cage nice and heavy into the mat. Keep your chin nodded softly towards your chest. Think left toes to nose, left heel to ceiling. Maybe closing the eyes, taking your focus in as you take a couple of deep breaths here. Try to give me a nice extended leg line and try to open up that tight kink behind the left knee. Then when you're ready to try the B-line stretch, take a big breath in to prepare and work on the exhale, dropping the leg open as far as you can to the left while you look to the right, keeping yourself grounded on the right shoulder and the right bum. Try to keep both shoulders nice and heavy into the mat and give yourself at least 20 to 30 seconds here. Maybe closing the eyes as you relish the stretch, the B-line stretch. Keep a comfortable neutral spine. Keep your belly button as heavy towards the mat as you can comfortably manage. When you're ready to try your C-line stretch, you're going to gently bring that leg back to your start position. Maybe bend your support leg as you change hands. Lift both hips off the mat, scoot your hips slightly to the left. Grab opposite hand to foot, and then draw that left leg over the center line, bumping your right hip underneath you, trying to keep both shoulders as grounded into the mat as you can comfortably manage. And if working with an extended leg is too much for you, just bend the left leg and maybe with your right fingertips, just softly draw the knee across the midline of the body. So you're working the twist in a manner that is comfortable for you, trying to hold for maybe 20 to 30 seconds. Then slowly draw yourself back to center. Ground both feet. Bring your hips back into neutral. Extend arms and legs and take a little stretch. Comfortable neutral spine position, but belly is as heavy as you can. Exhale, tuck into a little ball, scooping to maybe peel up off your shoulders and tap your nose towards your knees. Inhale to stretch. Do that maybe 3 or 4 times, taking a little stretch and then tucking into a little ball on the exhale. Let's do one more and then we'll do a few rolling like a ball just to come into a seated frame, maybe bracing around your shins or behind your thighs as you rock your weight back and forth, hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back, rocking back as far as the shoulder blades and back. Maybe keeping those feet hovering off the mat if you can. And then in seated, take a nice little stretch. Reaching toes, looking up to the sky, energy coming out through the soles of your feet, sitting up as nice, as tall as you can, and then end off your playtime on the mat. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Remember to share your comments and make sure your notifications are on. Be ready for playtime on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.